بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صدق الله العلي العظيم. And guide us on the right path. Literally, guide us on the straight path. And in other chapters of the Holy Quran, for example, chapter 6, verse 153, and chapter 11, verse 56, we find Allah's path is the right path or the straight path. Now we recite this many times a day during each prayer. For Farz prayer, and nafals and sunnats and everything. But let us think about what this straight path is. If you look at Mustaqeem, then and you look at the root of the word, then you find that its root stands for, or the words derived from the root stand for, to stand, to balance, to be steadfast, to continue to do something, etc. Now, first of all, let's see why straight path. You see, if you have any other type of path, then you don't get anywhere. And we have the English expression, he's going round in circles. What does that mean? It means that he keeps trying, but he's not achieving anything. But if we set an objective, an end for us to achieve, and we follow a straight path, then eventually we'll get to our objective. Yesterday, to give you one example, our objective was to take our grandchildren back to their home. And we know what the straight path was. And we took it. But the road was closed. So we had to take a detour. And we got lost. But we kept on trying to get back onto the straight path. And eventually we dropped them off home. And that is the point about straight path. If you set yourself an objective, and then you set yourself how you're going to attain that objective, it may be that for some reason at some time you'll stray from that path, from your pursuit of that objective. But if that objective is set, you'll find your way back to the straight path. You set yourself an objective. I don't know, I'm going to get the promotion or whatever. And you know that if you work hard, etc., you will achieve that objective. But it may be that, you have coronavirus and everything is shut down and you're working from home. And there's furlough and there are no promotions. Now, strong winds, a storm has thrown you off course from that straight path. But if you keep your objective in mind, when the circumstances change, when the circumstances are better, you will try and get back onto that straight path to achieve our objective. But the interesting thing, you see, if you look at, for example, if you look at Hinduism, they say you're born and there are only a limited number of souls, and you're born, and if you do good deeds, then next time you're born in a higher state. Now, in that higher state, if you do bad deeds, then you go back to a lower state. You're reborn, but in a lower state. And literally, you could be born as an animal and do some good deeds, and then you're reborn, as a human. But then, as a human, you do bad deeds, and you revert back in your next life to being an animal. But the point is this, This is a cycle that you keep on going through. You cannot break out of it. You cannot make progress. But as I said, with Islam, if you follow the straight path, then you continue to make progress towards achieving your objective. As I said, you may stray from that for whatever reason. But then if you keep your objective in mind, then you'll get back onto it. This is why, not just daily, but many times every day, we remind ourselves. And we remind ourselves that we can't do it on our own. And we keep asking God for help. You know, there was a boy who was trying to lift some logs, and they were heavy, very heavy. And his dad was watching, and he was getting tired, and he couldn't move them from one place to another. And his father said, "Have you tried everything?" And he said, "Yes, I've tried everything. I've tried pushing them, I've tried pulling them, I've tried dragging them, I've tried lifting them. But I still can't get all of them from A to B. I've tried everything." And the father said, "No, you haven't tried everything." So the boy thought, and he said, "I can't think of anything else. What is it that I haven't tried?" And the father said, "You haven't asked me for help." So asking God for help is a part of our trying to achieve our objective. We are not going to be able to do it on our own. But the interesting thing is, as I said to you, that amongst all the meanings of the words derived, one thing that stands out is to balance. So what happens if you balance? It means you don't lean excessively to the right or to the left. If we look at that in political terms, it means that you are neither a communist nor a Nazi. You're in the middle. You can look at this in any way, in many ways, and implement those in your life. Today, discussion, well, before the pandemic, the discussion of work-life balance was all the rage. People were spending all the time that God sent in offices, working, and ignoring their home life and the children and their partners and so on. And employers would send staff on courses about work-life balance. There are, of course, times when you have to devote all your time to work, but that should be limited. For example, I was working on a project and it had to be implemented over a weekend. So the whole team turned up at work on Thursday morning and no one went home until Monday morning. Some people were booked into hotels round the corner to get a few hours sleep. Some had bunk beds and so on. But of course, you can't do that continuously. You can't do that all the time. But the point I was making was this, that whether it is your personal life, whether it is your political life, whether it is your religious life, Many times a day, you ask God for help to be moderate, to be balanced, not to fly off the handle at things. But it is unfortunate that Muslims think that, they rush in to pray, they splash a few handfuls of water on their faces, and then they fold their arms. In their heart, perhaps they're playing the latest video game or working out what they're going to say to their boss at their annual assessment and how much pay rise they're going to ask. They're not paying the slightest attention to Ehdina Sirati Mustaqeem or any of the other prayers that are recited. It is not without reason that God said, recite Fatiha. Fatiha means opening. And most people say it means opening because it's the opening of the Holy Quran. And, I found it amazing. I used to write long reports, 100 pages, 90 pages, 60 pages, and I handed one to a director of the company that I worked in, and he went straight to the back. And I thought, my fingers work to the bone. And he hasn't read the other 70 pages, he's gone right to the end. So I said to him, why did he go to the end? And he said, well, I want to read the summary. I want to read your summary, and if I find that interesting, then I'll read the rest of the report. So can anyone guess what I started doing after that?
2 pages.
No, I started putting the summary at the front.
No.
Yes, another way to do it is to write a 2-page report, but yes, as someone said. But no, I started writing the summary, putting the summary at the front. And that Friday I thought, how stupid am I? I mean, my wife frequently tells me that, but I took it as a joke. I didn't think that she was serious. But that Friday I thought, how stupid am I? God has put the summary of the teachings of the Holy Quran at the front and called it the opening or the summary. This summarizes everything in the Holy Book. And it tells you. And one thing it tells you is be moderate. Be moderate in everything. Don't be extreme. And you know what that also means? Don't be extreme in your religious devotions. There was a Hazrat Asha Razillah Ta'ala saw a lady, and she had just been married, and she was looking all sort of disheveled and so on. And Hazrat Asha said to her that you're a new bride, you should be all sort of made up and tip-top and so on. And she sort of said, who for? My husband, he works all day and he prays all night, pays no attention to me. So the Holy Prophet called that man and he asked him about this. And he says, yes, during the day, every day I keep a fast and I work, and during the night I stand up in prayer all night long. And the Holy Prophet said to him, he said, I fast, but then I break my fast. I pray, then I don't pray. He said, everything around you has a right over you. Your wife has a right over you to demand attention. He said, your body has a right over you, that you give it proper food and proper rest and don't damage it. And that applies both to physical health and to mental health as well. But we ignore these things. And we just go on our merry way, standing up. You know, if in Pakistan, Rifat's brother has a parrot. And that parrot recites the Fatiha beautifully. You would wish that all day, every second, you'd sit there and listen to it reciting the Fatiha. But do you think does the parrot any good? No. Because that parrot cannot understand the meaning, the spirit, the message, the teaching being imparted. So, if we're just going to rush up to prayers and go Allahu Akbar and then mumble, and then Assalamu alaikum. Yes, you have said a prayer, but have you gained any benefit from that? And the greatest benefit, as I said, is seeking Allah's help and assistance in our lives to do everything with our religious devotions, with our personal lives, with our professional lives, and so on, because we face many tests in life and we cannot be successful without Allah's help. You know, when you're writing a dissertation or doing research or something, it may be that you'll get stuck at some point and you'll go to your tutor and say, I was doing this, doing that, and I'm stuck. Where do I go from here? If we do that at school, why is it that when we are stuck in our personal lives or professional lives or whatever, we don't turn to God? But when we turn to God, we have to turn to Him and we have to concentrate on talking to Him. There's a story I frequently tell that a Khan Sahib went up to the Imam after Isha prayers, and he said to the Imam Sahib, you made a mistake in Isha today. And Imam Sahib said, oh, is that right? I'm very sorry. What was the mistake I made? And Khan Sahib said, well, Isha is supposed to be 4 rakahs. And Imam Sahib said, yes. And the Khan Sahib said, well, you only said 3 rakahs today. And Imam said, oh, is that correct? How are you so certain? I'm sure I said 4. And Khan Sahib said, well, you see, the thing is this. I have 4 shops. And in every rakah, I do the accounts for the daily takings in one of the shops. And I had only done the account for takings for 3 shops when you said Assalamu alaikum. And 1 shop remained without me being able to do accounts for its daily taking. So if that is your attitude to God, that you're standing up there and you're saying Allahu Akbar and you're not listening to the Imam and you're not speaking to God, then how is He going to help you and reply to you or even take you seriously? And this is what people do. I prayed a lot. No, you didn't. You just stood there and you kept dreaming about your annual assessment, annual appraisal that's coming up, and what your boss is going to say and what you're going to answer. But ask yourself this question. When you have that annual appraisal and the boss is talking to you, will you be thinking about something else or will you be concentrating on listening to what the boss says? I'm sure you'll be listening to the boss. If you do not allow Allah even the same courtesy as you're next superior in job, as your boss, why should he take you seriously? If you're looking out of the window and dreaming, and as people do these days, they come and see you and they say Assalamu alaikum, and as soon as they sit down, they take their mobile phone out of their pocket and start playing games on it or texting or whatever. If that's what you're doing during your annual appraisement, will your boss take you seriously? No. So if you're going to take God in this offhand manner, why should he take you seriously? Prayer is about concentrating on speaking to God, giving an account of all that you have done that day up to that time, and then asking forgiveness for the wrong things you have done, and asking for help that you don't repeat them again until the next prayer. And you do this over and over again to make sure that you don't stray from that straight path. It's like when we got off the straight path yesterday, we were doing our best to try and follow the sat nav, to try and get back onto the right path. But if we had the sat nav on, but we kept on playing games or listening to music or sleeping or whatever, would the sat nav get us back onto the right path just on its own, without any input from our side? No, it won't. So when we pray, I have just taken two words or one word and tried to impress upon you its importance. Just extend that, extrapolate it. For those of you who did A-level maths or physics, extrapolate it to the rest of Surah Fatiha, if not the whole of the Holy Quran. And just think how important it is that in the prayer, you concentrate on speaking with Allah. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Qur'anil azim wa nafa'ana wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim innahu ta'ala jawadun kareemun malikun barrun rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وجعلنا منهم وخذل دين محمد sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wala taj'alna minhum. Ibadallah rahmakumullah. Inna Allaha ya'muru bil adli wal ihsani wa ita'i dhil qurba wa yanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkari wal baghi ya'idukum la'allakum tadhakkarun. Uzkurullaha yazkurkum wad'uhu yastajib lakum wa la zikrullahi akbar wallahu ya'lamu ma tasna'un. Nanya?
Yes.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah, qad qamatis salat, qad qamatis salat. Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده.
ربنا
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل ألم يجعل كيدهم في تضليل وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل فجعلهم كعصف مأكول. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده.
ربنا
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Astaghfirullah. Allahumma anta Rabbana atina fil akhirah. Thank you for joining us for our Friday service. I do apologize for my khutbah because previously, when questioned by God, you had the excuse that you didn't know. Now you can't use that excuse to say, but I didn't know that I had to keep thinking about you when I was in prayer and so on. So, but when God asks me, I will point to you and say, told them, but they never listen. With the prayer that whoever you are and wherever you may be until we meet again, Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and goodbye.